Lincoln Riley has been at it. I mean, by the way, if you're out there, Rusty, thank you so much for the picture. I appreciate the Riley on fire picture. But they just came out recently today. So they had the big Under Armour Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia, and Julian Lewis was there throwing the ball. You guys go look at it on 247. They got lots of video of him throwing the ball, just beautiful, running through drills and things like that. So again, if you guys aren't familiar, Julian Lewis is committed to USC. He was a 2026 quarterback that reclassified for 25 class. Still committed to USC. Yeah, man, it seems like all the national guys at 247 are just hammering and hoping he's leaving. But again, if you go back to early article that I wrote that, where I quoted his dad from an interview, I can't remember who the interview was with. Basically, dad said as long as Lincoln Riley's there, or he asked about Georgia or Alabama with DeBoer there, you know, great quarterback coach there. You know, what do you think about some SEC school? He said, look, if Riley's there, then sure. But basically, other than that, no. He made it very clear that they want that development. I think Lewis has been out to USC a number of times. He is, though, however, going to be visiting Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn sometime this spring, according to 247. Then you got a 4-star offensive tackle in Juan Gaston. I think he's going to Oregon, South Carolina, and Georgia, I think, for official visits. But he's listed that he wants to get out and see USC, South Carolina, Texas, and Tennessee. So there's another big guy from – these are all in Georgia, by the way. So there's Juan Gaston. Then Justus Terry, I wrote about him a couple weeks ago. This dude is a big dude. You've seen him in some of the big man camps where he just flies off the – this guy is fast. He's got everything. He's got that quick twitch, strength, size, you name it. This guy has got NFL written all over him. He's going to visit Florida State on March 9th, but he's coming out to USC March 23rd. He also wants to visit Alabama and Florida on officials. And then I'm sure he's going to work through all those and figure out who he's going for his officials. But, you know, with officials, you guys, they're unlimited. So I'll bet you he's probably going to go to a lot of these schools on the official visits as well. Then you have another guy from Stockbridge, Georgia, Chase Taylor, 3-star linebacker. Wants to visit USC, UCLA, Georgia Tech, and Clemson. Although he's in Georgia and he's getting recruited by Georgia, you're seeing a theme here. They can only take so many great. The state of Georgia is kind of like it seems like California is tipping, you know, towards the Georgia and Florida. It used to be Texas, USC, and Florida. Now it really seems like it's Texas, Florida, and Georgia as far as the numbers of these 5-stars. But I will tell you this. I'm going to do an article on this, man. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm going to write it down. I looked at where all the NFL players come from, and I'll tell you what, they are not proportional. They are not proportional to these recruiting rankings. There's a lot of guys in California. California was a close third. They're not buried like they are on these 247 and on 3 where they have California, a distant like 4th place when it comes to 5-star and top blue chip talent. So keep that in mind. And then the last one I want to talk about was Duke Johnson, 4-star safety. Again, he wants to visit Florida State, Tennessee, Alabama, UCF, but no dates are set. He also wants to go visit Texas A&M and USC. So all this stuff, there's a great article on 247. You guys just go look up, do a search for 247 Under Armour Atlanta, and you can check out their work. Great setup. Here's why. You're seeing these guys and you see a number of defensive linemen going nuts, and USC is getting just a ton of attention that we're not used to getting. You know, when we're talking about hearing from a Justus Terry, we're on his short list of visits he wants to go do. I'm telling you guys, it's a big part of it is because you have Eric Henderson, who came from the Rams to USC. We told you he's hitting the ground running for recruiting. If you weren't watching the show earlier, go back and watch it. But he's got this whole dog ethic, right? And you see, if you're on USC Twitter, you see it. Dog stands for discipline, attitude, work ethic, and grit. And that's basically his attitude towards his defense and his defensive development. Is to work at the highest levels of football. This guy's electric. Again, if you haven't checked it out, go to the Athletic site. Watch the interviews with all of the defensive guys. His section was just my favorite. I mean, literally just the energy was exuding from this guy. So make sure you're checking it out. Matt, what's your thoughts on Dog, the dog You got a dog in you, Matt? You got that dog in you?
I have that Trojan in me. I mean, my dad did attend USC in the 1960s. I don't know if I've shared that on this show before, but he did. So, just the main thing is, like, if you're a defensive line prospect, like, you look at everything Eric Henderson is doing, saying, talking about, how could you not want to play for this guy? Like, you do want to run through a brick wall for him. And it's really hard to see him not breaking through. And, one person mentioned the chat. I don't know who it was, but he's saying, I think Eric Henderson's going to land a big defensive tackle transfer in the spring portal window. That's what we're all hoping for. That's what we're all, hoping Eric Henderson can deliver. And of course, that if USC can, get a couple splash hits in that spring portal window, that significantly raises the bar and will boost USC's hopes of having a big 2024 season. I think right now, just as the roster exists currently, I think USC is a little short. I really think that USC needs at least one, if not two, significant spring portal additions to feel that we can make the 12-team playoff in 2024. I don't think we're quite there yet right now, but that's what the spring portal window is for. A good reminder: last year in the spring portal window, Bear Alexander. 2 years ago in the spring portal window, Jordan Addison. So, like, USC got fundamental centerpiece players who significantly, vastly improved the team, the roster in the spring portal window the last 2 seasons. So hopefully USC is going to make it 3 in 3 years. And if there's a guy who's going to do it, the money is on Eric Henderson to land that big, nasty defensive lineman.
Well, I just really quickly, B. Mason, we signed 0 5-star players, 0 top 10 defensive players in California. Again, look, the star ratings and the guys that do them are amazing and they're great, but it's not science. And I will tell you this, you know why they screwed up? Because Marcellus Williams is not one of the 5 stars and not one of the top 10 defensive players in California. That right there tells me, and I've watched this kid play for years now, and you guys will get to see him at USC going forward. He is the real deal. And the fact that he's not a top 10 player in California, he's not a 5-star, I'm telling you, puts the star rankings this year in California into question in my book. And there are many others. And just because we didn't get, these 5 stars from California, you got guys like, remember this name, dude. When you have a linebacker from Connecticut, this kid Newby is going to be, you watch. I think he's going to get some really early playing time on special teams, and he's going to sneak in during the season. I'm telling you, he's something really special. Yes, the stars matter, but on the macro level, if you start picking apart, we didn't have this number, that's when you get lost in the weeds. And I'm telling you, was this a great recruiting class? No. Does USC have to get better in high school recruiting? Yes. But was this, the players we got were quality players that are going to see the field, and I think you'd be happy. Don't get all mixed up in these 4 stars and 5 stars. You're going to be excited about who we did sign. All right. So then one last one, just came on. This is just right when I was making this together. This came out on Twitter. I caught. We have this young man, Kevin Wynn, Juju. He dropped his top 10 again. Another kid from Georgia, and he's from Greensboro, Georgia. He's a class of 2025, so this could be the next recruiting class. He's the number 13 defensive line. Look at all those names. So you have Florida State, Georgia. And the list of all you would expect you'd see a guy from Georgia looking at, right? Well, look at the one that doesn't match in recent years. You got USC up there, and there's one big reason for that, and that big reason is this guy right here. So again, it just continues to show you imagine this. You get a good president at USC and Carol Folt, who then decides to hire Mike Bone. They actually get a professional athletic director, who then turns around and pulls off with Brian oh my God, I forgot Sosna's first name. How can I forget Sosna? Brandon. I was calling him Brian Sosna. Brandon Sosna, and they pull off this coup by pulling in Lincoln Riley. And then seasons play out the way they do. It's not working. So what do? They go and rip off the young, hot defensive coordinator over at UCLA, force Chip Kelly out of head coaching with that move, and severely hurt a conference rival, our traditional one of our traditional rivals, and then they have a guy like I don't know. Let's go get the defensive line coach over at the Rams to be our defensive line coach. These are big boy moves made by big boy programs. Now we're getting big boy attention from kids in the South. So continue to watch, you guys. We're going to start landing and not landing. We're going to start getting a lot of interest from all these defensive linemen. And I'm telling you, there's enough smoke. Some of these guys are going to hit it and come in. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe for daily USC football content. Fight on.